how are ya? I am back with a new video. Today we're going to make pull apart cinnamon bread. Y'all, have you ever had a monkey bread? You know, that you just pull apart the pieces of the warm buttery cinnamon bites. This is kind of like a different take on that. So delicious if you love cinnamon, and it's a really cool looking pull apart bread on the finished product. Like, it's just gonna be like a wow factor. I'm so excited for this. There's a little bit of prep involved, and of course a few steps involved. When you use anything making yeast, you know, you gotta wait a little bit. So it's a good day when you're just hanging out around the house and doing some laundry, some cleaning, just chilling and relaxing. That way you can prep a little bit of it and let it sit for an hour and a half while it does its thing, and then go back, and then, you know, so it's just one of those things that you can do other things while you're waiting for it. But I'm telling you, it's gonna be worth the wait. Let's get into it. So as y'all can see, I went ahead and got my ingredients for the dough and got everything prepped. So don't worry, I will leave a copy of the recipe below. But like I said, there is a few steps of things involved with it, but it's going to be worth it, okay? So first off, we're going to have, let me get my little notes here, my little cheat sheet. So we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, so I've already got that. Let me give you the run through. I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, plus you'll need a little extra towards the end, you know, for dusting when you roll it out. I have a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of sugar, 2½ teaspoons of active dry yeast, 2/3 of a cup of warm milk, not too cold, not too hot, just right. Lukewarm milk. You don't want it too hot to kill the yeast, but you don't want it cold to where it won't activate the yeast. I have 1/4 cup of melted butter and 2 beaten eggs back there in the back, okay? So first you're gonna take your large bowl and you're gonna mix in your 3 cups of flour. I'm gonna add in your salt. And then I'm gonna put in my sugar. And then I'm gonna add in my yeast. Okay? Pretty easy. I'm gonna grab my little whisk here, and I'm just gonna get everything combined and just kind of mixed and make sure I don't have any lumps. Okay. So in another bowl, I'm gonna set that one aside in like a medium sized bowl here. I'm going to add in my 2 beaten eggs. Melted butter. Ooh-wee. And my warm milk. Of course, I'm using vegan butter and oat milk to make this dairy free. So now you just want to add in your wet to your dry mix, okay? We don't need this anymore. You just want to add it together in stages, okay? Probably like a couple stages. So I'm going to just add half of my wet. Got me a rubber spatula, and I'm just going to start combining. Okay, now I'm going to just go ahead and add the rest of my wet. And I'm going to start mixing that, and we'll start seeing a dough form. There's just something about fall that really gets me into baking, cooking. And of course, I love anything cinnamon, and so does my husband. All right, make sure I get everything incorporated. Now, depending on where you live and the climate, depending on, you know, how hot or dry it is that day or wet, you may have to add a little bit more warm milk, you know, same temperature, lukewarm milk, if it's too dry. Or if it is too wet, you may have to sprinkle in a little bit more flour, okay? And you'll just have to go by and tell. And this looks pretty good. It looks a little wet and a little sticky, but you know, it's a dreary rainy day here, so I think I'm going to sprinkle in just a tad more flour. I'm not going to add much flour, as you can see, just a little dusting like that. I'm going to just give that just a little bit more mix. And then we're just going to knead it with our hands just in this bowl for about 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're just going to cover it with plastic wrap and a clean tea towel, and then you're going to set it in a warm place. If it's already warm where you live, then you can just let it sit out at room temperature. If it's kind of cool where you live, I would turn the oven light on. I wouldn't turn the oven on. Just turn the light on in the oven and just set your bowl in there. And it'll probably take about 1.5 hours, okay? Because we want this to double in size. You get in there, of course, with clean hands. Now your dough is going to be a little bit sticky while you work it. But as long as it's pulling away from the edges and the sides of the bowl, you're good to go. I believe that we've got this going. Of course, I've got a sticky mess on my hands. Okay, so I got mine covered in plastic wrap. I grabbed my clean kitchen towel and I'm just going to cover it. And it's kind of cool here today. It's about 70, so I am going to turn just my oven light only on. And I'm going to set the bowl in there for about 1.5 hours, and then we'll be back. In the meantime, we're going to make, you know, like the filling, because we're going to put like a filling in it, just like you would cinnamon rolls. So while this is proofing, you want to go ahead and set you out 1/3 cup of butter, because you're going to need 1/3 cup of softened room temperature butter for the filling, 2.5 cups of brown sugar, and some cinnamon. So go ahead and set your butter out, and that way it can be softening while this comes up, and then we'll be all ready to go. Okay friends, we're back. My dough has doubled in size. Now this is where the fun begins. I'm gonna have to do a few alterations just because I don't have the space to roll the whole dough out, because it's gonna take up a big space. If you hear some weird noises, they're working on a road because we had a little bit of a flood issue. So they're coming to dig stuff and make it better. So now we get to roll the dough out, and like I said, I'm gonna have to cut my dough in half and do it in sections just because I don't have the room to do it. And I wanted you guys to see, look at my little apron, y'all. It's got my name on it. It's probably backwards to you. But my mother-in-law had this made and sent it to me. Is that not precious? She said she thought of it for my videos. Maybe if I tied it up like that, you can see. So excited. Thank you, Vicky. I love it. It's precious. So anyway, so let's get to rolling our dough, y'all. So I brought the camera up so you can get the whole view, because I really need twice this much area. I guess I could do it on my table, but it's really low. And anyway, so here's my dough. Isn't it beautiful? Y'all smell it? So I'm going to just cut mine in half and do half at a time. Like I said, just because I don't have the room. Is this gonna work? So, let's see if this will cut it. I may just have to get a knife. I was trying to use less utensils. So go ahead and flour your surface, y'all. Y'all know me, I do more flour than I need. I get excited, I reckon. Get your rolling pin out. Let's see if I can get half of my dough mixture. Can y'all see? Got my camera in a different spot. Ooh, yeah. Can you see me? All right. Let me get a little flour on top. Spink it to the bottom. Sorry, crazy. Anyways, calm down, Tiffany. Focus. All right, so I'm gonna roll her out. I should have taped my parchment paper. So you just want to get it pretty thin. Probably about as thin as you'll be able to get it. And try to roll it out into a square or rectangle. Okay, y'all, just do your best. It don't have to be perfect because it's homemade. It is made with love. We'll just say it just looks more rustic. All right, can you guys see that? It's maybe 1/4 inch thick. So I went ahead and prepared my filling. So remember that 1/3 cup of butter to have softened. I went ahead and added 2/3 cup of brown sugar to that, and a heaping tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And then I just mixed all that together, okay? So now we're just going to lay half of this filling into this one, and then I'll do the other half for my other half. Of course, if you have enough surface to do the whole area, then just go ahead and do that. I've got my loaf pan here, and I've put some parchment paper, and to get my parchment paper to cooperate, I just sprayed it with some nonstick spray, and that way it would kind of stick to each other. So we're going to cut this into slices like bread, like white bread, and we're going to lay it in here and stack it, okay? So you want your slices to be about this big and stick up a little bit out of your loaf pan, if that makes sense, or about the same size. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So I'm gonna cut somebody's out here blowing the horn. Okay, sorry about that. I had a package delivery, and I've never had the mailman or the UPS people to honk the horn in the driveway. Anyway, so let's get this. Oh, they're honking again. Is that like a good hello and a goodbye? Is that something that UPS is doing now? Anyway, focus, Tiffany. Okay, so now I'm going to try to slice this. I'm going to slice mine about this big. You can use a knife. You can use a pizza cutter. I'm just going to use this thing. It might help me get them a little bit straighter because I can't draw a straight line with the ruler, y'all. And it's okay if some's bigger or smaller than others. It does not have to be perfect. We ain't perfect, or at least I'm not. So now I'm going to cut mine like that. And now comes the fun part. I'm just going to make it easy, and I'm just going to stack my pieces on each other, just like this. Okay, and just kind of layer it up, just like that. Really simple. Okay, can y'all see? And I'm going to take my loaf pan, and you're just going to stick it down in there. You can lay it on its side if you have someone to help you. Let's see if I can prop this up. I don't know if it'll hold. So then, I'm just going to take it. Just like this. And you're going to just kind of lay it in there. Okay? And then I'm going to get to my other ones, and it's okay that that's how it looks. It'll work out in the end. I've got this one rolled out, kind of like a square. And then I'm going to put the rest of this filling in there. And we're just going to repeat the steps that we did before. So I got my mess cleaned up a little bit. So now you just kind of want to work with it, and you want to kind of spread apart every layer. And it's okay if some has fallen down in there like mine. You're just going to have to kind of work with it, and you want to kind of spread every little layer. And I've got some going every which way. That happens sometimes. It'll still be good, I promise. So just kind of spread your layers a little bit, just like so. Okay, so now we're going to cover it with a tea towel again, and we are going to let this set for 30 more minutes, and then we will bake it in a 350-degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna uncover that. And look how beautiful she is. Ooh. So now I've beaten 1 egg, made a little egg wash. Again, pretend this is a pastry brush. Seems like the last few recipes I've posted, I've needed a pastry brush, so I think I'm just gonna have to get online and order one. But anyway, let's see if I can do this. So you're just gonna brush a little bit of this egg wash over the top of it. And then, like I said, we're gonna put it in the oven on 350 for 30 to 35 minutes, and just keep your eye on it. And then when you insert a toothpick and it comes out clean, then you know it is finished. After about, oops, that wasn't even in the shot, sorry. After about 20 minutes, go ahead and have you some aluminum foil on standby, and then you can just make like a little tent. And then after about 15 or 20 minutes, you might want to pop that over that just to keep it from burning on top. And let's get this baby in the oven. See you back in 30. Guys, I just got it out of the oven. It's been in there for about 35 minutes. I did put some foil, like tinted over the top. Oh, look at her. Isn't that awesome looking? Of course, if I'd got those lined up, it'd have been more prettier, but you know, practice makes progress. It's still piping hot. Look at that, y'all. Isn't that awesome? I don't even know if it's done, so let me check it. We'll check it together, shall we? So put me a toothpick, and let's see. It's still got, I don't know if y'all can see that. It's still got just a little bit. So it will probably finish cooking if I left it in that. But just to be sure, I'm gonna pop mine back in the oven for about 5 more minutes. And then we'll check back. Y'all, I can't wait to try this. don't she look pretty? Oh my goodness. So excited. Looks so good. I didn't think that thing was ever gonna cool down so I could try it, y'all. It did take a little while for it to bake, you know, and I had to make sure that I tinted it so it wouldn't get too dark and brown on top. I think next time I do it, just because my oven gets hot, I think I might cook mine on 325 degrees, probably for about 40 or 45 minutes. So just keep your eye on it and just watch it and see how it does. If you like cinnamon toast, French toast, you're definitely gonna love this. So are your kids. And you know what else? If you wanted to take this to a whole new level and add even more sugar, put like a powdered sugar glaze on top with some raisins. Ooh, yes, girl. All right, here we go. Y'all. This is dangerous. Not too sweet. Perfect amount of cinnamon. It's really good. And I was afraid that it might be eggy when we put that egg in there. It's not. This is so good. Oh, they're so good. It's light and fluffy. I don't know, y'all. It's just good. It's just really good. Y'all try this recipe. Let me know what you think. Really makes me want some coffee, I know that. Thank y'all for watching. I truly appreciate you clicking on my video and watching and supporting me. I hope you guys are doing well. See you next time.